Naomi Osaka's decision to forego her Roland Garros press obligations has caused quite the stir over the past few days. Osaka made that announcement on IG, essentially saying that she feels that organizers have no concern for athletes' mental health and forcing them to do post-match press conferences. Naomi later sent an email to Roland Garros organizers further explaining her stance. "Dear Guy and Gilles, I hope you are both doing well. Thank you for your efforts in working so hard to put on the French Open this year. In reference to my stance on the press during Roland Garros, I want to explain the following. This is 100% nothing against the French Open or even the press members themselves. This stance is against the system which requires athletes to be forced to do press on occasions when they are suffering from mental health. I believe it is archaic and in need of reform. After the tournament, I want to work with the tours and the governing bodies to figure out how we best compromise to change the system. Unfortunately for Roland Garros, this has happened during your tournament, which is just pure coincidence and nothing personal. I have nothing but respect for your event. I'm going to focus on tennis now, but should you have any further questions, please direct all communication to my agent, Stuart." Clearly, Roland Garros took this email with a grain of salt because they shaded Naomi on Twitter. Their official account tweeted pictures of Kei Nishikori, Arina Sabalenka, Rafael Nadal, and Coco Gauff with the caption, "They understood the assignment." If you didn't know, the understood the assignment thing is kind of a Twitter meme, which essentially means that person and persons did what they were supposed to do. This is clearly a dig at Naomi because the tournament is basically saying they knew how to do their press conferences, unlike Osaka. Also, they clearly knew what they were doing because they later deleted the tweet. This was unprofessional from the French, but it's to be expected as they're the least professional slam out of the four. The reporters, of course, felt some type of way about Naomi not doing press and them asking all the top players about her decision. However, they also seem to be revealing their own biases and framing players' responses to make them seem like they have animosity towards Osaka. For example, Swiatek, who's a friend of Naomi, said, "I personally feel like this is part of the job, and of course talking to press after we lose is not the most enjoyable thing to do, but it's good to find the balance and find the distance to all of that. As soon as I don't have so many media obligations, I'm okay with it, but I think it's just important to have people around you who are going to be that kind of wall that's going to separate you from hate or something. It's good to be aware of that, but sometimes we're in the spotlight and everybody is looking at us. It may be hard, but I feel like with the proper kind of support, distance, and balance, it's part of the job. I feel that media is really important too, because they are giving us a platform. It's also important because not everybody is a pro athlete, and not everybody knows what we are dealing with on court. It's good to speak about that." The same thing happened with Ash Barty, who said, "In my opinion, press is kind of part of the job. We know what we sign up for as professional tennis players." Then she also said, "I can't really comment on what Naomi is feeling or her decision she makes. At times, press conferences are hard, of course, but it's also not something that bothers me. I've never had problems answering questions or being completely honest with you guys. It's not something that has ever fazed me too much. And it certainly doesn't for me personally keep me up at night what I say or hear or what you guys ask me. So I try and make it a little lighter and have a bit of fun with you all. For me, it's a little bit different, but I can't comment on her personally for what she's going through, so I suppose you'll have to ask that next time you chat to her." Then Rafael Nadal said, "I respect it. I respect her, of course, as an athlete and her personality. I respect her decision. I don't know. We as sports people need to be ready to accept the questions and to try to produce an answer. I understand her, but on the other hand, without the press, we probably won't be the athletes that we are today. We aren't going to have the recognition that we have around the world, and we will not be that popular, so I understand her. On the other hand, I have my point of view that the media is a very important part of our sport too." The press also asked Daniil Medvedev about this, who essentially said that he understands Naomi's decision, but personally he has no issues with doing press. I know that a lot of people and much of the press will take these statements and go, "See, these players don't have issues, so neither should Naomi." However, it's important to remember that not all players are the same, and we all have our individual issues. It's easy to say, "Oh, Naomi is rich, that mental health stuff is BS, but that's actually a very toxic mindset to have. Everyone, regardless of financial standing, is susceptible to mental health struggles, and it's clear that Naomi is right now. It's ironic because everyone seems to be glossing over the fact that she probably isn't okay at the moment, but they're perfectly fine with piling on with these harsh invectives. The bottom line, these players aren't ganging up against Naomi like the media is making it seem. They respect her decision, but also feel that the press is important in growing the sport and giving the players an opportunity to give their insight and perspectives. The WTA shared a similar sentiment in their press release about the entire ordeal. Mental health is of the utmost importance to the WTA, and for that matter, every individual person. We have a team of professionals and a support system in place that looks after our athletes' mental and emotional health and well-being. The WTA welcomes a dialogue with Naomi and all players to discuss possible approaches that can help support an athlete as they manage any concerns related to mental health, while also allowing us to deliver upon our responsibilities to the fans and the public. Professional athletes have a responsibility to their sport and their fans to speak to the media surrounding their competition, thus allowing them the opportunity to share their perspective and tell their story. Once again, I definitely agree with what the players and the WTA is saying about the value and importance of the press, but once again, I think that the major argument of Osaka's is that if a player is truly going through psychological problems, then they shouldn't have to be subjected to doing press. I understand it's a sticky circumstance because it could open up the door for players to abuse this hypothetical exception. Whether you agree or disagree with that, there's clearly something going on mentally with Naomi, and her point is being proven with the media's manipulation of the situation and making her seem like this evil person destroying the system. Naomi's decision is personal to her. It doesn't directly involve other players, so quite honestly, I don't know why people are upset. Even Big Mouth Belinda Bencic had her sorry take, basically saying that Naomi does good in using her platform to advocate for injustices, but she does things to just stay in the spotlight. I know a lot of people have that same sentiment in believing that Naomi is just very attention seeking, but I think it's the exact opposite. She's never liked talking to the press, if we're being honest, but this recent problem of hers is making this worse. For the critics, I can understand disagreeing with her, but calling her a bunch of harsh names is very uncalled for. I think it's interesting because the tennis world was so in love with Naomi and thought of her as this little innocent palatable player dethroning the big bad Serena Williams. Now that Naomi isn't falling in line with their traditions and is being outspoken herself, those same people who professed their love for her a few years ago are turning on her with malice. Now, although the press isn't entirely bad, they still need to work on their questions because Coco Gauff was just forced to answer a stupid question yesterday where a reporter said, "You are often compared to the Williams sisters. Maybe it's because you're black, but I guess it's because you're talented and maybe American too. We could have a final between you and Serena. Is it something that you hope for? I mean, 22 years separate, you girls." Anyways, I think that it's crazy that nearly 3 days after Naomi made her announcement, this is what most of the tennis media is focusing on, which shows you that despite some people's statements, the sport needs her and not the other way around. Focusing back on the tennis, Naomi plays her first match against Patricia Maria Teague tomorrow/today at 5 a.m. Eastern. Also, in some lighter news, defending Roland Garros champions Iga Swiatek and Rafael Nadal have continued to grow their friendship as the two practice with one another today. Rafa posted about it saying, "It was great hitting with you today, Iga. Good luck for the tournament." Then Swiatek posted, "Best early birthday gift. Thank you, Rafa. That was so much fun." I think that it's always good to see the men's and women's players come together, especially for hitting. Also, it seems to be an early birthday gift for both, as Iga turns 20 on May 31st and Nadal 35 on June 3rd. Closing this video out, we did crown some tour champions today. Sebastian Korda and Barbora Krejcikova have claimed their first tour titles in Parma and Strasbourg respectively. Korda defeated Italian Marco Cecchinato 6-2, 6-4 for the trophy and didn't even drop a set. He is projected to play Tsitsipas in the French Open second round, so the Greek men better watch out. On the other hand, Krejcikova defeated Sorana Cirstea 3-3. She's actually the top Czech women's player in terms of points earned this season and could very well make that fourth spot for the Olympic team. Then, a man who was no stranger to holding a winner's trophy, Novak Djokovic, won his 83rd career title in Belgrade today, defeating Alex Molcan 6-4, 6-3. Now, as some fans noticed, Novak didn't have to beat a player ranked inside the top 60 to claim the trophy, but he did beat everyone he needed to, which is all that matters. That's all for this video, and let me know your thoughts about the Osaka backlash and the Roland Garros shade in the comment section below. Also, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever we post new content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.